Alrighty, guys. So here we go. NFL Combine Review 2025. Indianapolis, Indiana. Love that the Combine's in Indianapolis. And we saw the quarterbacks yesterday go out and throw the football, and just going to go out there now and stack the quarterbacks, right? And what quarterbacks, we're thinking about. And I'm going to put them in the categories into separate buckets, and you guys are going to maybe react and comment. And it was a very interesting day yesterday at the Combine. Going to share what quarterbacks, in my opinion, helped themselves and what quarterbacks did not. So one of the more polarizing quarterbacks in this draft process is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, Texas, was the number one recruit coming out of high school. He forewent his senior season of high school football, which I kind of love the spirit of high school football, so I didn't exactly love that move, but it was risky. He was able to get paid, $1 million, and I don't really hate on people for making money generally. So I really don't. So he went out there. He got cash from Ohio State, and basically then went to Texas and had I would say an up and down career. I would say that if you were an Ohio State fan, or even this year with Arizona State, watching him in college, he wasn't someone that you really, really feared. Now, Arizona State, he did have the great throw to Marcus Golden, end zone touchdown pass to, in overtime to keep their season alive. But he really wasn't a mobile quarterback, Quinn Ewers. Now, he does put very good touch on the football. His arm is, out of high school, people said he has the rarest of rare arms. Now, everything does seem easy. He doesn't throw the ball violently. I thought yesterday at the Combine, though, he did show some of that skill. I think he did have that easy power to different parts of the field. I thought he was dropping some really nice throws in there. And he's somebody that if you get him even in like a Shanahan or a McVay offense, if he were to go to the Rams, or even if the 49ers don't want to sign Brock Purdy, he's someone that is very, very interesting. Or even, if Kellen Moore gets around him in New Orleans in that dome, he's somebody that does have skills. He's someone that does have requisite arm strength that could start games and could actually win games at the NFL level. So he's not somebody that I'm going to completely write off in this process as Quinn Ewers, and I think that he actually had a very good day yesterday. If there were two quarterbacks in this class that are really, I would say, disrespected by the media, it's Quinn Ewers, and it's also Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur Sanders, just the amount of criticism that Sanders has been facing about not being the number two quarterback, and him, coming from his father or whatnot, I do see a lot of that criticism. And Shedeur Sanders, interesting player. He'll hang in the pocket. When you're facing Shedeur Sanders in college, who would you be more nervous for, Quinn Ewers or Shedeur Sanders? Who would you be more nervous for, Tyler Shough or Shedeur Sanders at the college level? I would say Shedeur Sanders, but I've also watched Shedeur in a couple of situations, like against Nebraska. Shedeur Sanders really struggled in that game and against pressure. So, but against Kansas State, he was really, really good. Against Baylor, against USC, he is a big-time performer. I mean, against TCU, looking back, actually, his freshman season, he went out there and he did dice it up. so he has played on that big stage before. So he's not an easy evaluation whatsoever, Shedeur Sanders, because he's going to probably go in the first round. He's not very mobile. I worry about his arm strength. I worry about mobility with him. I'm not completely writing it off because he can be very accurate, and he does have that confidence and swagger. Like, I really like that part of Shedeur Sanders. Like, he kind of needs that chip on his shoulder. But in terms of just the talent and the wow, I think it's going to work. I would put Cam Ward up there as the one quarterback in this class that I'm pretty sure is going to work, and everybody else is kind of a risk. So Cam Ward's number one, and now we're talking about the second group of quarterbacks to me that have a chance to work. So I mentioned Quinn Ewers, but I'm going to put Quinn Ewers, to me, is going to be like around the fourth quarterback. The top three quarterbacks, I'm putting Dillon Gabriel right up there as the second or third quarterback. I think that Dillon's going to be somebody that is going to fall through the cracks, kind of like Russell Wilson. I think he'll be drafted actually really early in the third round. I do want to see Dillon Gabriel go to the New Orleans Saints with Kellen Moore, because Kellen Moore's used to playing quarterback as a smaller left-handed guy, and I think that would be a very interesting fit with Kellen. But Dillon Gabriel's a straight dog competitor. He is clutch. He quiets the mind. He's really the king of the fourth quarter drive, like against Texas, against Ohio State, against Penn State. Like, when the moment's the biggest, like, Dillon Gabriel's able to quiet his mind, and he just has that calm, cool confidence about him. I don't want to bet against Dillon, and he does actually have the arm strength, and he's really improved just his ability even to drive the football, like even from his time at UCF. And he has faced injuries. He's a little bit older, but I think that all that experience, I think, is actually going to help Dillon Gabriel. So Dillon is right up there with Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, I'm really not sure about taking him in the first round, though. I worry he's not at all very mobile. He struggles to drive the ball. And if he goes to a place with a poor offensive line, it's going to be risky. You're going to have to deal with growing pains with Shedeur Sanders. So I'm really not sure about him getting drafted early on in this process. The other quarterback, if I were to pick four quarterbacks, I would also put Tyler Shough, actually. Now, Tyler Shough's a little bit like Quinn Ewers. When you're playing Louisville, like even when it was Cade Klubnik versus Tyler Shough, you're not exactly worried about Tyler Shough, just being completely honest. He was someone that at Texas Tech or at Oregon, like, you'd watch the highlights of Shough and be like, holy crap, like, this guy's 6'5", he can really spin the ball. He is someone who does very well in workouts. He's someone who interviews very well. So the combine was going to fit Tyler Shough. He went out there and performed. The one thing I love, though, about Shough is that really listening to him talk and him gaining his perspective, like, he's worked in the Jeff Brom offense. He's worked in that Louisville offense. So that's really, really going to help him when it comes down to the National Football League. So that pro-style kind of offense, all of the top quarterbacks other than Cam Ward have really worked in a really, really pro style kind of offense, with really professional play callers. Like, I do really value that. When I look at this process. So Tyler Shough is going to be somebody that's going to be interesting. He can maybe go to the Steelers in the fourth round. He's going to be like Tanner McKee. Like, he's going to hang around as a backup quarterback. He's going to play for a very, very long time as a backup, and he's going to be in the NFL and accumulate money at least as a backup quarterback for a pretty long time. So if I were to look at the quarterbacks, I think I would go, man, it's tough. I'd go Cam Ward number one. Then the second quarterback, I think I'm going to go with Dillon Gabriel. I really like, and the fact that you're getting Dillon in the second or third round, like, I think that Dillon is a starter. So Dillon, I'm not going to bet against Gabriel. All right. And then you're going to have, Shedeur Sanders is one of the most risky picks from a quarterback position, I would say, in this draft. So if Shedeur and Dillon are right there, you can have one or the other. It's tough because, again, when you draft Gabriel in the third round, you're going to be able to get two more premier players. So Dillon just doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the height, or else he would be a perfect prospect. And he also has injuries. But I'm going to go with Dillon. I just think Dillon also, like, under pressure, Dillon is just really savvy. So I'm going to go Dillon Gabriel as the second quarterback in this draft process. So if this works out, you guys are going to honestly have to give me props too, because Dillon Gabriel right now is considered a fourth and a fifth round quarterback. So, like, I do get satisfaction when people doubt on a quarterback or doubt on a player, and I just happen to love the player. I do get that satisfaction in those bragging rights and saying, okay, I was damn right about this player being really, really good in the NFL, undervaluing the ability of somebody. So I do like that the stock's low on Dillon Gabriel. Like, buy Dillon Gabriel stock. And then I've been talking about Ewers. I've been talking about Tyler Shough. And there's two quarterbacks here that I really haven't mentioned. And I'm sure that you guys watching this right now are going to be yelling at the computer to mention a quarterback who played football at the same school as Zach Wilson out of Draper, Utah, and that's Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart, USC, then went to Ole Miss. A Lane Kiffin quarterback, Lane Kiffin, and also the son of Charlie Weiss Jr., who's probably going to end up being a stud coach someday, pretty soon, actually, in the near future. But Jaxson Dart, he does have that attitude that he wants to be a starter. I don't think that Jaxson will be comfortable being a backup quarterback. I think that Quinn Ewers and Tyler Shough and Will Howard and Kyle McCord, these guys, Riley Leonard, they're all going to be comfortable being backup quarterbacks. I don't see Jaxson Dart being that type that's going to be comfortable. He's going to want to push you for a starting quarterback job. I'm very curious to see you draft Jaxson Dart. I think that you're either 1,000% in with Jaxson Dart or you're 100% out. I think he's an in or out, play quarterback prospect. And with Jaxson Dart, I just don't really see it. So everybody else can kind of have Jaxson Dart. And the reason is because in the intermediate passing game, I don't really see Jaxson with the ability to drive it. And I also think that the deep ball can hang, and the deep ball, I just think his decision making, I just think that he will turn the ball over, and he's a very young player, and the ball will just kind of hang, and I think that he's going to get drafted with the I think that the offense that he played in is a little bit different, and he's not going to stick around as a kind of backup quarterback. So if you had to play a quarterback, though, if you had to play one game to defeat the aliens and save the world, like Jaxson Dart to me would be what did we list? We listed 4 quarterbacks. He'd be the 5th quarterback. Or him or Will Howard. But again, I don't see the intermediate arm strength. I think that the ball can die on him late in the process. A little bit of Drew Lock, and that hurts to say because I love Drew Lock throughout the process. But then you got Riley Leonard, Will Howard, Kyle McCord. Somebody who was getting pushed throughout this process, really carried that Syracuse offense, really had a good career at Ohio State and also at Syracuse, had a really, really good season at Syracuse, but I didn't think his combine was very good. You could see the limitations in the deep ball. You could see how he was really being safe with his throws in the combine. Unfortunately, he's going to be a backup quarterback. Will Howard, great 5th or 6th round quarterback, going to be a coach. Like, his intangibles are off the charts. He's a winner in every regard. But for the NFL level, he's just a little bit stiff in the pocket. and doesn't have that requisite arm strength to be a really consistent starter and be a day in, day out guy as a starter. And then you also have Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard at Duke was actually more of an exciting NFL prospect. Again, you could be a great, great college football player. Like Shedeur Sanders, Riley Leonard, they are much better college quarterbacks than Tyler Shough. Okay, Tyler Shough is, just being honest, he's a forgettable college quarterback. That's just the reality of it. All right, Shedeur Sanders is not a forgettable one. Cam Ward is not forgettable. Will Howard isn't a forgettable college quarterback. Will Howard, you can even argue, had a better career than Quinn Ewers because he won the national championship. He beat Quinn Ewers on that stage. All right, you can argue that. You could definitely argue Riley Leonard, his time at Duke, and then getting Notre Dame to a national championship. You could argue that he had a better career than Quinn Ewers or Tyler Shough at the college level. It's just it's the same as Stetson Bennett versus Jalen Hurts, who was a better college quarterback at Stetson Bennett, 2 national championships. It is, but in the NFL, it's not a contest. Who was a better college quarterback, Stetson or Justin Herbert? Again, you do have to separate it a little bit. Now, Jalen Hurts did win in college, Joe Burrow, so the winning does help. You do see Dillon Gabriel in those final drives, and what quarterback do you want to bet on? Yes, the college tape can help you in that, but you have to separate it completely, which is why Will Howard, Riley Leonard are really good college quarterbacks, but when you watch them and try to project them to this next level, it's why a quarterback that was almost completely obscure in Tyler Shough is gaining so much traction because the physical tools for the next level are there. And with Kyle McCord, Will Howard, and even Jaxson Dart, I don't really see, with Jaxson, I see a little bit of physical tools, but just mentally, like, is Jaxson going to be that consistent quarterback in the NFL? So if I were to buy stock in some quarterbacks going into this process, Dillon Gabriel for sure would be somebody that buying stock in. Also, Quinn Ewers. I feel like Quinn Ewers' stock publicly is really, really low, but there is a chance that he could be a starter and find some success in the NFL. He does have some of these tools. Gosh, does Jaxson Dart have these tools? Yes, a little bit, but again, I'm not really buying it for the NFL. I just think the decision-making, I think Quinn Ewers, that Sarkisian offense, being pushed by Arch Manning every single year, playing in the spotlight, having the spotlight shining so bright on him, being the quarterback at Texas, that's all going to help him. You know, all the outside chatter of Arch Manning, all of the criticism, he's able to shut that all down, and he's able to focus on football and play pretty well. Like, I really like that part of him. He kind of builds that chip, just like Bo Nix has built that chip, just like Jaden Daniels, just like Michael Penix, some of these older quarterbacks. So I would love the NFL. I would love college football to be 5 years. I want there to be a graduate senior year because you're looking at Will Howard, you're looking at Tyler Shough. It's really helping them not only with NIL, but it's helping them earn money too in the process. I'm not arguing for 6 or 7 years. I draw the line at 5 years. I also think you could get into a graduate program. It's really, really good for college sports. It will even out competition. Will allow teams to either go older and compete, or you'll have older players competing with younger. It will increase parity, but it'll also keep a lot of these players in college football for a really long time. It'll help them with their development. It'll help them off, when football is over, they can either go into coaching or can go into business. So it's really, really beneficial for these guys to have the 5th year, okay? And that's one thing that we did see from this pandemic issue, is that it showed us, the transfer portal, it showed us that having 5 years can be really, really beneficial. So again, the final rankings here, okay? The Slaughterhouse Sports rankings. I'm going to go with Cam Ward and Dillon Gabriel. And then I'm going to go with Shedeur. I'm actually going to give him probably the third spot in this draft. Tyler Shough is really tough because, again, I've liked physical tools in players, but he just doesn't have the pedigree of Quinn Ewers. He doesn't have the experience of Quinn Ewers, and Quinn Ewers a little bit quicker twitch, younger, played more games, so it's tough. But I'm actually going to go with Quinn Ewers number 4 and Tyler Shough number 5. Tyler Shough, again, in this process, has really fluctuated throughout this process. Riley Leonard yesterday, backwards hat Riley Leonard or Will Howard. I'll then take Will Howard, and then we'll go with Leonard and McCord. Jaxson Dart, I just don't think that he's going to pan out. I view him as really talented, but kind of like Jacob Eason is no longer playing football, like I'm just curious to see if Jackson's going to hang around in the NFL or not. We'll see. We'll see how this ages. Again, I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong because Jaxson is kind of a dog competitor and really fun, player from Utah. But again, like we're going to see how this will shake out. Jaxson can use this video as motivation for sure. Kyle McCord can use this as motivation. Even Shedeur Sanders, I have him lower than a lot of other evaluators do in this process. But Tyler Shough, the injuries, the production wasn't there at the college level. Man. He can easily, I don't love Quinn Ewers' game either. That's why they're 4th and 5th on this list. It isn't the best year for quarterback. It isn't. You're going to have Cam Ward, and then you're going to have one other quarterback that's probably going to hit from the second group, which is, so Cam Ward's going to hit, and then you're going to have Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, or Tyler Shough. One of those other guys is going to hit. One will be like a starter. One will actually play in the NFL for a while and will get a lot of games started in the NFL. And then the other guys, unfortunately, I don't see it panning out for them. I think that Will Howard will be a very good backup quarterback, will be a coach someday for sure out of these quarterbacks. I think Riley Leonard will also go into coaching. Great kid, and actually had a really nice combine. It's probably going to get him drafted in like the 6th round. Like he actually showed a lot and actually performed relative to expectations really, really well. All right. So that is kind of how I view the quarterbacks, kind of in 3 categories. I view Cam Ward as an all-pro, possible Super Bowl champion, possible Hall of Famer, probably a 2-time Pro Bowler. So I view him as a top 7, top 8 quarterback in the world. The other quarterbacks in this class, they are going to have to be fringe starters. And if someone has a Kirk Cousins career out of this group, it's a big-time, massive success. All right, that's how I view quarterbacks. If someone has an Andy Dalton or a Kirk Cousins career other than Cam Ward in this draft process, it's a massive, massive success. Let me know what you guys think. I just, again, gave you all of the opinions that I have on this class. And, again, we're going to see how pro days end up, and we're going to see the destination for some of those quarterbacks, especially in the second group, for the 4 names of Sanders, Ewers, Tyler Shough, and Dillon Gabriel. Those quarterbacks, where they land, will be massive for opportunities, for coaching, and to see what the GMs think about the player. All righty, guys. Thank you all for watching. All right. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll see y'all soon.